SeizeYourBusiness.com podcast with Tony Rourke and Kevin O'Flaherty.
SeizeYourBusiness.com, making you money. Share it on Facebook, share it on LinkedIn, Twitter, our blogs, YouTube videos. Listen to our podcast, getting so hot that it's burning up the stereo.
Welcome to the SeizeYourBusiness.com podcast, coming to you from our speakeasy in lovely downtown Downers Grove, Illinois. Our guest today is Ben Chernivsky from This Is Feeling Photography. Our hosts are Kevin O'Flaherty from O'Flaherty Law and myself, Tony Rourke from ADR Business Resource Group. We invite you to check out our website, SeizeYourBusiness.com. If you find this podcast helpful, or if you just want to help us out, we would appreciate it if you would review us on iTunes or share our podcast on social media. So without further ado, I'll hand us over to Kevin.
Ben, thanks for being here today. Our topic is going to be expanding possibilities.
I've changed that, actually.
Okay, what would you like to talk about?
I think it works really well with the podcast. You don't even have to edit that out. Call it creating possibility.
Creating possibility. Yeah. All right. See, now we just expanded and created a possibility there with a new topic.
I think we did. Yeah.
So Ben, tell us a little bit about your business.
So I'm a wedding photographer, wedding and portraiture photography, and I love it. I have to tell you that. And I want people to know that. I would never want to just say I am just a wedding photographer because it's such bullcrap. I really love what I do. I love creating real authentic moments with my clients. But yeah, long and short, I'm a wedding and portrait photographer.
How long have you been in photography?
Yeah, full time since August 15th of 2011. I started This Is Feeling Photography just actually August 15th in 2014. So
how long have you been in photography?
Oh man, I remember when I was like one of those kids that flipped through National Geographics when I was like 4 or 5 years old. I couldn't even read the text.
Okay.
And that's what really got me into it. But I didn't actually like pick up a real like proper SLR camera until actually January of 2003. I was interning at Disney World of all places when I was a college student at College of DuPage, and I got back from this internship and the world was just depressing. I got back working at Disney World, like the happiest place on earth, they say, and it was actually it was an amazing place. But you come back to Chicago, it's overcast, it's gray. And I had to go back to COD, College of DuPage, and I was like, you know what, I need something to uplift me, and so I enrolled in a photography class. I didn't even have a camera. I went on eBay. I bought a bag of a camera kit was like $275. I got it like overnighted to me, so it would arrive to my house before the first day of class. So yeah, I mean that's when I started taking pictures, 2003.
Wait a minute. Whoa, hold up. Has it always been your dream to do photography, or did that dream come into being sometime a year or so before 2003? Because I'm trying to get to a point. It's kind of cool that you decided that. I mean, that's a short time ago when you decided.
2003?
When you think about it, it's a fairly short time ago when you decided to.
You got to remember, Ben, we're a lot younger than Tony is, so it seems like a long time to us.
It ain't long, man.
Yeah, well, yeah.
For either y'all.
In 2003, I think I was 19, turning 20 that April. So
yeah, Tony,
that was like
12 years ago, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, dude. Life is flying by.
No. Because see, the reality is that this one. I told you this one's going to go crazy. The reality is most people figure a path out, right? They go to school and they follow that path, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He was on a path and then decided, oh no, I'm getting off this train track.
Oh man,
that's where I'm going.
Okay.
He got off that train track.
Yeah.
In midstream and said, oh hell no, I'm done.
Yeah.
And then 12 years later, here you are.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn good. I don't care the age. I just don't, because
I see what you're
got
saying.
off the track.
Yeah. I dig that, man. Yeah, and that's kind of like the story of my life. Like when I'm inspired by something, I pretty much go at it like full steam ahead. Yeah. And that could be a weakness of mine, but it's been working out pretty well so far.
Well, cool. Okay.
Well, and Ben, I know for a fact, because we've done some work together, that you're not just some bohemian photographer. You've got a full-fledged business with employees and another business that you're working on setting up.
Yeah, definitely. I think I've discovered this, and I definitely I see myself as a creative. But over the years, I've slowly been letting go of being a creative and identifying as a creative. And I think that's part of like the idea of creating possibility. Because I've been pushed, and it was hard for me to admit that I love business. It was really hard for me to admit that, because I didn't want it. I didn't want to be the grumpy old businessman that was balding and overweight and unhappy with his life. But it's like, where did that picture come from? Why did I paint that picture of business? You know, and so I had to learn to really like embrace other things other than just being creative. Okay. And I found myself in a position where it's like I love that entrepreneurial spirit of doing new things.
How do you think the creative side, even though you're trying to, push that down a little bit?
Oh, I'm not pushing it down.
Okay.
I'm just not holding on to it.
You're not holding on to it so tight.
Yeah.
But obviously you use it in business still.
Yeah.
I mean,
definitely.
You have coming up with creative solutions to problems, things of that sort.
Yes.
Do you no question there. I just stated a fact, I guess.
That's right. That's right. But no, I mean, I think it was a good clarification too, because you don't have to let go of who you think. It's not about like downsizing like certain qualities that you have and saying I don't want it to exist. It's about just embracing it and saying, okay, I'm a creative person. I can be creative in everything that I do. And then bringing that to other parts of your life that you really want.
There are a lot of qualities that an artist has that will translate really fluidly into being a business person. I noticed that myself. I used to play in bands, and a lot of the lessons that I learned from putting together a team, and marketing and being a perfectionist about a product and trying to, that translated really easy into opening up my law firm. If I hadn't played in bands before doing that, I would have not had the experience I anywhere near needed to start a law firm. So I'm sure that, a lot of the things the synapses in your brain that fire when you're doing, your art also fire when you're creating your business.
Yeah. I knew I came to you for the right reason. As a rock star, like lawyer. No. Yeah. You're right. You can't. I mean, I don't want to say you can't change the way you think. You can, but they're just certain parts of you that just like are a part of your nature. You've created a habit out of being this way or that way because you just do it. You live that way, and yeah, you're right. Like and actually, it was just like this last weekend that I really realized that I can't stop being creative, and it's just a part of who I am. And that was a pretty cool realization to have. So yeah, you're right. Like it's just boom. It's happening when I am applying it to, or whenever I'm even I think like I creatively wash the dishes. I do. I must. I should look into that a little bit more.
Well, what I like about the whole idea you're talking about here, because your topic was creating possibility.
Yeah.
And part of that creation of whatever possibility you want to have or bring into reality is bringing in other aspects into your being, which you said was your business.
Yeah.
You didn't want to be a businessman. No, I don't want to be an old businessman. But now you've accepted that, brought it in, and look at you now. So cool.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I got a long way to go, man.
Yeah. We all do. Yeah. That game will be done when they put me 6 foot under.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. I'm always going to have to be learning something.
Yeah, seriously, man.
And even when you get your business model set up where it's functioning and making you money and you're making a profit, there's always a next level to take it to, and always something more to learn about.
You're learning that one.
Learning how to edit sound and video and deal with social media for this podcast is an extension of my business. It's there's always a next level to take things to, and that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it like art. You're never done making a song. When I'm writing music, the song is never complete. I'll listen to songs that we've recorded in a studio, 2 years ago, and I'll be like, if I'm ever in a band again, we're taking the song, we're changing it, we're making it better.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the business. There's always something that you can tweak and make better and take to the next level.
Seriously, I used to in college, so I ended up finishing with a creative writing degree in poetry of all things. And that was something I realized when I was a creative writing major, that the work that even the piece of art is never done. Like, I was never satisfied with my poems. And one thing I had to learn was, like, you know what? Just you got to put a dot at the end of the sentence. You got to close the book and be okay with how far you've gotten.
Sure.
And that was a tough lesson, because I always wanted, like, perfection. But the thing about, like, pursuing anything is, like, it's a creation. You're creating it every single day. Even with writing, photography, I really don't feel like it's ever done.
Yeah. Well, and I think putting a period at the end of the sentence is important, because you can drive yourself crazy being a perfectionist, both in art and business. It's, your song will never be good enough. Your photo will never be, perfect. And your business systems will never be functioning on the level that, they'll never be a 10. They might be a 9.5. That's something that I learned.
Or a 3.
Yeah. You try to get them above a 3, but, when I spent the past year trying to get my business systems functioning so that I could be the funnel to pump new business into the machine, and the machine would work and it would execute well every time, and everyone would get great service. And I worked on that for so long, and suddenly we were at the point where, okay, we're done. There's nothing more for me to do here. I could focus on it more. I could micromanage it to death, but my efforts would be better spent saying, okay, I've completed this project of systematizing my business. Now it's time to focus on, something else, marketing the business, or, whatever that next thing is. But you could go nuts trying to be a perfectionist in every little aspect of your business.
Let me ask you a question about that. You got your system down to a point where you're happy with it. Do you ever see yourself going back to look at it and going, more tweaks? Because I would think that as you learn, each year you're going to learn something. I know you're going to learn a lot in a year, and you would have to pick something up that you want to incorporate into that system.
Business is kind of whack-a-mole sometimes.
Absolutely.
Right now I've got that mole whacked, but as I'm whacking another mole, it might pop up again. Or you're right. I might learn something and want to make that better, but there's a bigger fire to put out somewhere else.
Or there's a flip side. Yeah. That mole hit back.
Elaborate.
The mole hits back. It can whack us. A customer can make a day go crazy.
Oh, yeah.
They may make a request. Something bad can happen. That's the mole whacking you back. It's gotcha. That's when you think you got that sucker. It gets you back.
Well, and that's why you try to systematize everything, because, if you have a good enough infrastructure in place, you don't, as the owner of the business, have to spend your day dealing with that. Sometimes that might be part of your process where you make the call as a business owner to make the client feel better. But if you've got a good enough staff and they're trained well enough, you're not going to be the CEO of Walmart doesn't, focus on every time someone sends in a letter to Walmart complaining about service. They've got processes for that, and hopefully they're good processes. Let's get to your topic, creating possibilities.
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean by that? What do you want to talk about in that arena?
I think it's just been a pattern that I've been appreciating a lot in my business. And it all comes back to a business mentor, a business coach that I started working with in 2013. And he just really, really, really pushed my limits. And I appreciated it so much. And it's created so much in my business that I never thought would have been possible. And so in turn, I'm really grateful, because I'm seeing, like, the positive results of it. And I feel like a more free thinker. I feel like a more free creative. I feel like I've been liberated of, like, my own, all the weight that I've put on myself. And this is still, I have to say, like, this is an area that I'm still, exploring is creating possibility. But I know there's something there, and I know it's been really, really great for me and my business. And to give you a concrete, because I feel like I'm talking about theory right here.
Yeah, no.
I'm talking about a bunch of ideas.
You were going to get that question very shortly.
Yeah, I was like, you want some results here, don't you? Yeah. I mean, it goes back to, like, me identifying with being a creative. I was a photographer. I wanted to create the best photographs ever. And the truth is like great photographs don't make you money.
Yeah.
And that's a really, 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 really hard lesson to learn as a creative. You don't want to admit it, man. You value what you just created. It's like your little kid. You just took that photo and you edited it, and it means so much to you. But it's a kick in. It's a slap in the face when like the client that hired you doesn't value it like you do. And that's what I so appreciate about my business coach is he kind of made that connection. It had been something I had been thinking about for a long time. And I was investing into business education. And I thought I had a successful business at the time. And he kind of looked at me and I could see he was like laughing at me. He wasn't really laughing at me, but I could tell like the way he was talking to me. It was just like he wasn't taking me seriously. He didn't think that I was as successful as I could have been. And he pushed me. He pushed me to be a better businessman. He pushed me to serve my clients better. He pushed me to take my business seriously. And I was super, super resistant to it. And it's funny because our very first conversation was about money. And we met at this creative business workshop out in Colorado in May of 2013 called Business as an Art Form. And I didn't even know he was a speaker there. It was a very small conference, only like 40 or 50 people. And I just got in there and I just walked in this room and there was a group of people there. And I just went and stood into I just fit myself in that circle. And Steve was just happened to be, so that's his name, Steve Saporito. He's from Australia. And he was just standing right there. And we just started small talk for a little bit. And he started asking me like the real important questions. He's just very good at listening, very good at asking questions. And so we got to a place where we were talking about business and what that was like for me right away. And I remember like I kind of at one point he was like, Ben, you should be pulling in like $1 million a month. And I was like, what? I was like, what? Like, where did you get that? Like, I was like, you are the issue with this photography industry. It's people like you that just think about money all the time. You're taking the spirit away from what we're doing. And I was like really I like literally fought him. I was convinced that like, making $80,000 a year as a photographer was like successful and I was happy and all this. And he just saw straight through it. He just saw straight through it, and he saw something else in me that I didn't see. And the coolest thing about this conversation, guys, and I know this might be hard to understand, was that he actually wasn't even talking to me about money.
I get that.
He was not talking to me about money. He was not talking to me about how much money I was making a year. I was turning it into a conversation about money. He was talking to me about value. He was talking to me about how valuable of a service I was offering my clients. And it was just something that I had no sense of at the time.
So how did that translate into kind of a changed action from you?
Yeah. That is okay. How did it translate? So how did it translate into like actionable
Was
results?
it like you're given a valuable service, you should raise your prices, or what was the light bulb that said, oh yeah, he's right, here's what I need to do differently?
It was more of a conversation throughout the entire like 3-day conference. It was actually like his business partner. Her name's Kelly. It was the end of the day. We were all just having some drinks at the bar and just chatting. And Kelly just started talking to me about photography. And I remember she was asking me like if I'd ever been photographed. And I was like, you know what? I hadn't. I've never actually been photographed with my wife, Vanessa. And she kind of put me in the shoes. Well, that was the first like realization. I was like, holy shit, like I'm a photographer and I've never actually like gone through my own photographic experience. How can I serve my clients? And I think that's part of what she was pointing out to me. I think we were talking about the idea of like value and what we were doing as photographers. And then she asked this one question, and this freaking changed my world, man. She asked me one question, and it was applicable to me. She simply asked me, Ben, what do you love about your wife?
It's quite a question.
Yeah. And I didn't. I know this sounds terrible. I didn't know what to say. It was hard for me to say it. But the thing was, because I felt like I was like put on the spot. And it's not a question that a lot of people ask. You know, it's like, what do you love about
that will
this?
throw most people, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I had to think about it. And I'll be damned. It was the first time I understood what it was like to be a client. And I just realized I was doing everything so backwards in my business. I wasn't even asking questions like that. How could I serve my client? I'm shooting a wedding. How can I serve my client if I don't even know what they love about their partner? How can I serve my client if I don't understand that sense of discomfort when that question is asked? I mean, I'm trying to photograph. Yeah, we'll just pause it.
No, keep
Yeah,
going. We're live. We're live,
Keep
buddy.
going.
All right.
This is not going to stop.
We got to knock on the door. I mean, are you sure? Yeah.
Keep going.
I want Kevin to be a part of this. I'm okay. I'm
go
okay
on,
with stopping.
Sorry about that.
Well, the idea was just like how could I serve my client without understand, like basically what really floored me is I didn't even value what I was doing as a photographer. I was simply taking pictures because I was good at it, and it was the first time that I realized that I didn't understand the weight of what I was doing with a camera. Because when she asked me, like, what did I love about my wife? It just so much went through my head. Like, oh man, photography is a representation of love. It's a representation of what you see. I don't even have like real authentic photographs of me and my wife on the wall. What do I love about my wife? Am I doing, basically am I practicing what I'm preaching as a photographer? And I wasn't. And so the rest of the weekend, I was just kind of in this like daze of, oh my gosh, I really have to think about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it so I can better serve my client. Because I knew I loved photography, but it was selfish. I was basically like, I'm a wedding photographer because I'm a good photographer, and that's it.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It doesn't sound like you had a real strong why there.
What's that? Oh yeah, like why I was running a business?
No, why you were in the photography. Why photography was so. It was like it's a craft.
Sure.
It's a thing to do. Yeah. But it doesn't sound like you had a strong why.
It would have been and if you would have asked me at the time, I would have had a ton of answers, but it would have all revolved around my own passions.
Okay.
You know, it wouldn't. I don't think it would have revolved anything about like serving my clients. Authentically.
Nice.
Yeah. So it sounds like a switch was flipped for you where you started really thinking about, everyone says put the client first, but it sounds like you really thought of it from the client's perspective and what you were bringing out for them as opposed to just you making good art. In the legal world, that's, I might be able to read and write really well and argue in front of a judge, but it's more every first-year associate can do that. It's about finding a solution for the client and helping them in their time of need and being an advocate. As opposed to just doing your craft. Is that kind of the switch that was flipped for you where you're thinking, I can really help people with this as opposed to just, make good pictures?
Totally. I really think so. Because, Kevin, I don't think you would be able to create a successful law firm if every single one of your lawyers and everyone that was working in that company was doing it for themselves. If they sat down with someone and said, I am a great lawyer and I love being a lawyer, that's not gonna that no one's gonna hire you because of that. Then it's gonna be all about you. And I can make good money at what I'm doing. You have to serve your clients. I think in a really practical way, like you have to serve your clients. But you're the only lawyer I've worked with, so I really don't know what the perspective is. Maybe there are lawyers out there that are like that.
No, they're all worse than me.
Oh yeah.
Every stinking one of them.
So how did making that switch translate into better business results for you? Because it's kind of the opposite. You're not focusing on the business results. You're focusing on just doing a good job for your client, but that tends to give you better business results.
Yeah. I think it was more of like a mentality switch, because how do I put it? And there was a lot more that I was learning at the time too. It's kind of like an interconnected web of like what helped my business. I think practically. Wait, could you repeat the question? What was it? Yeah.
So you talked to this business coach, and he told you, one, you should be making $1 million a month.
Sure.
There's a lot of unlocked or potential that you can unlock in this business. The other thing he told you was, help me look inside your client's head to think about what it's like to be a client and give them the best service you can. And you told me that was a light bulb that went off for you. How did that actually translate into, changing your business model and, making your business stronger, better, faster, whatever?
Yeah, sure. So, oh man, this is gonna get into like the technicalities of running a photography business.
No, that's okay. We're on, our tagline is, actionable strategies for your business.
Strategies.
So
okay.
We want the nuts and bolts.
So what that looked like? Well, I started working with Steve shortly after that, and he really like pushed me to think about what I was doing as a photographer. It ended up becoming it ended up like what I was doing with Steve after that conference when I was working with him. What turned into like what created results was looking at my business and seeing where I was destroying. Let me put it this way: I had to look at my own business and see where I was limiting the growth of my business. So me not knowing what I was doing in my business, me making my business about me not knowing how to sell, me not wanting to create albums after weddings, me not wanting to produce canvas wraps and fine art products for my clients just because I didn't want to. That was all limiting what I could do to create something amazing for my couples. And this gets back to the art thing about being a wedding photographer. Previously, I was photographing weddings, and I was literally taking the pictures, putting them, like editing them, creating a cool collection of photos, putting them on a disc, and sending it to them. I would never hear back from clients. I would never hear like the thank yous. We really loved it. It was amazing. And I look back now and I'm like, oh, no shit, man. Like I was sending him a collection of like 700 photographs on a CD. I don't know if you guys have like looked like used a CD drive in the past, but like you load up like these 8 megabyte photos. You click on one and it takes like 12 seconds to load up. And I'm making them go through 700, 800. I would lose all my patience after like 20 photos, and I'd be like, okay, Ben was as good as his first 20 photos. And so I really had to get out of my own comfort zone as a self-satisfying artist in order to deliver something that was good and amazing to the client.
So it sounds like you turned your business into we talked about business as an art form. It sounds like you really turned your business into your art form. You're still an artist with your photos, but you were thinking about how to make a better business as opposed to make better photography, make a better client experience.
And this is a cool part, guys. This is where it's really interesting. For any of you that are creative, for any of you that are just really good at something innately, when you expand, when you create new possibility, when you incorporate something new and bring it into your business or into your life, you're going to make everything else better too. You're not going to ignore other parts. You're going to make it better. Because me learning to be a better businessman, me learning to look less at myself and more at my clients, me thinking about what I was really giving to my clients, it made me a better artist. I'm a more satisfied artist now. I love what I do because what I'm delivering to people is amazing, and I know it, and I love it. Before I would deliver things that I had like my collection in there that I loved, and I love this, and I posted a few on Facebook, and I put it on my gallery, but like the client didn't really see that. Like I gave them this big collection of crap that they had to go through on a CD drive. Now I know that like what I'm going to give to my clients is really truly emotionally driven and fun, and I can tell that to people, and people feel that energy when they come in and they meet with me before a wedding, because I know I have a beautiful studio space and I create a beautiful slideshow that talks about their wedding day story and what we've learned about them as a couple. When we show them a collection at the wedding, we premiere at the studio after the wedding, we premiere this beautiful slideshow. It's only 150, maybe 200 photographs. And then we show them a pre-designed album. We show them some collections of canvas wall art. And could you imagine being someone that just got married 4 weeks ago, and you walk in and it is like your own gallery. It is your own story. And it is just, it's amazing for people. And I know it because they see it and they feel it. Like people are crying. Guys are blown up. They're like one of the comments I get a lot from guys is like, I can't believe you made this, and they're pointing at themselves, look like that, and they're pointing at the photos that we've taken. People just have so many issues with self-esteem and how they view themselves. And now I know I'm literally helping these people see something that they never saw before. And to me, that's an amazing gift to be able to give to people, and I love doing that. So can you see how, like, before it was a self-serving craft where I was creating photos that looked good to look good for other photographers, and now I'm creating photos that I really do think are making people feel better about the love that they have for one another, what they felt at their wedding day, and something that will help them celebrate the future and get through maybe some hard times in their wedding. And I'm having this physical, real products. I'm showing them an album that they can put on their coffee table. I'm showing them artwork that they could put on a wall. So it's not like their wedding photos just don't just like disappear on some Facebook feed. Like, Kevin, did you get any printed work from your wedding?
You know what? You'd have to ask my wife.
Yeah, no, sorry, I'm gonna take that as a big no.
Probably not.
Yeah, but I mean that's the thing. Like, and did you invest a lot into your wedding photography?
I was not very involved in my wedding photography.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say.
No. It's no. Oh my gosh. And it's so,
I basically went where my wife told me to go.
And you know what? I'm not gonna blame that on you. I'm not gonna blame that on your wife. I'm gonna blame that on your wedding photographer. Your wedding photographer didn't reach out to you and say, Kevin, I want to know about you, and I want to know what's important about your wedding day. And that's the difference between a self-satisfying and self-serving photographer and creative and artist, and one who is serving his client. Because you know what? You were one of the clients, and you never were able to like voice your opinion and what was important to you about your wedding day. No wonder you don't have any photographs that you don't look at your wedding. I'm not surprised.
So how did you break that mold? Because everyone wants to do this. Everyone wants to be an above and beyond service firm, basically, or company. And everyone says they are, but not everyone does the introspection to say, how can I really be different and better serve my clients? What was that process like for you to break your mold?
It was hard as hell. It was really, really hard. And I hate to say it, but I don't hate to say it. I love saying it. Guys, it takes looking into yourself. As a business owner, if you want to create a better business, if you really want to serve your client, it is about being selfless. It is about not looking at yourself. It is about getting a real perspective on who you are. And maybe you get that from someone you trust. Maybe you find a business mentor. But however you do it, you have to get a real clear picture of what you're actually doing, and if it's actually serving your business and your goals. But really, I think it's about to clearly answer your question. It's about looking at yourself.
So that question, where am I limiting my business?
Oh, it's you, man.
Was key for you. That was huge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I wrote that down.
Oh, okay. I thought you were. I thought that was like okay.
No, I wrote that down.
Cool.
Oh,
that's good.
That
means it's important. That's important to you.
Notice how it just came, bam.
Yeah.
And I don't have much to write because I've been listening.
Oh, good. That's a beautiful art. Yeah.
So when we were talking about, before we started recording, we were talking about some of the business, well, not really business, but kind of like life change books that you're into.
Sure.
Want to give some theses of those books and some recommendations?
So when Kevin, when you asked that question, I instantly went into like, oh, what would sound good? Like, what are the business books that I've been reading? And truthfully, all my business books are like in the back of my car and bent and partially read, because I really find business books super boring. I hate to say it, but like the most valuable business investment I've ever made is actually like paying for one-on-one education through a mentor. I'm sure there's a lot of valuable information in books, but I'm just not like that kind of person that can actually take what I've read in a book and actually apply it. What I do get from books is motivational books, like ones that, again, and it goes back to the theme about like, if you want to make your business better, you got to look into yourself. Then you got to improve yourself. And so most of the books that I read are total like self-help books.
Well, I know you brought up some interesting ones though when we were
yeah. So one of the books that I recently read at the beginning of this year was by a girl named Brené Brown, and it's called The Gifts of Imperfection. Letting go of who you think you are and embracing letting go of who you are. Oh man, I always forget the title's so long.
The subtitles. We'll
Yeah.
we'll put it on our show notes if anyone wants to read.
And long and short, it's called The Gifts of Imperfection.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your like number one takeaway from that book?
Man, just embrace who you are. You are imperfect, and in that imperfection is a lot of beauty. She, Brene Brown, she did a lot of basically what she researched was shame. She did a lot of research. She did like shame research or something like that. But basically, she dug into like what shame was in humans and how humans felt shame and where they felt it and what it did for them and what it didn't do for them. And man, shame is something I feel all the time. And I think a lot of humans feel that all the time. They feel shameful about this, like something that happened in the past. You walk into a room and I'll speak for myself. I walk into a room and I get very self-conscious about my effect on the people in the room and if my presence is going to be positive for them, or I overthink everything.
Mm-hmm.
And the great thing about her was she really broke down like how shame, how shame functions and what it does for people and what it doesn't do for people. And just really just being okay with being imperfect. And it was super liberating, man. Like I really just like, I want to say I definitely am not so conscious about like my effect and me when I walk into a room anymore. I do my best to be myself. And that brings me to another point is like discovering who you are. Wow, that's another journey in itself. All right, because then you get to this point where it's like, okay, I'm not going to feel shame in a room, but I think that requires like knowing like who you are, and just being completely okay with like that discovery process and not being perfect. So yeah.
Well, Ben, if someone wants to contact you to get some photos taken,
Yep.
How can they reach you?
Oh man, call my cell phone. Seriously. Yeah, 630-640-2362. I love talking to people on the phone. It's about making that personal connection, guys. But you can always check out my website. You can Google This Is Feeling Photography, or just go to thisisfeeling.com. If you try to find me on Facebook, and I kind of mess this up, you can't type this space is space feeling. It's actually This Is Feeling with no spaces. So if you're looking for me on Facebook, just do This Is Feeling, and it'll pop right up.
All right, cool. Thanks so much for your time, Ben. It's been fun.
Yeah, thank you guys.
That was excellent.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I really appreciate. I love talking these ideas. So thanks for letting me blab on.